All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College EWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been doing a series of video presentations that are based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series, and I'm in the JavaScript section. So, it says the example can be found on GitHub as this. So let's just grab all this. I think this is the entire thing. 113 lines here, but let's just check. Let's close this, and we'll close this, and we'll go throw it right here. And I don't know what this one was called. 8 canvas drawing app.html. So, let's see. Okay, so you can see what we're able to do here. Oh, we're making our own little drawing thing here. We can change the width. We can clear the canvas at any time. We can change the color. Write our name. Okay, you get the idea. So it says, as a final animation example, we'd like to show you a very simple drawing application to illustrate how the animation loop can be combined with user input, in this case, mouse movement. All right, he says we won't get you to walk through and build this one. We'll just explore the most interesting parts of the code. All right. Let's look at the most interesting parts. First of all, we keep track of the mouse's X and Y coordinates. All right, and whether or not it's being clicked with 3 variables, current X, current Y, and pressed. When the mouse moves, we fire a function as the onMouseMove event, where we're basically capturing the current X and current Y values. We also use the mouse down, which will allow us to say whether this pressed is true or false. All right, so it's going to remain true as long as we are pressing down on it. And once we let go, it'll go and change to false. When the clear canvas is pressed, we run a simple function that clears the entire canvas. We looked at this before, just drawing it in black from front to back. The drawing loop is pretty simple this time around. If pressed is equal to true, we draw a circle with a fill style equal to the color in the color picker, and the radius equal to what we set. And you've already seen this. We have to draw the circle 85 pixels above where we measured it from because the vertical measurement is taken from the top of the viewport. But we are drawing relative to the top of the canvas. All right, so they're just basically resetting it accordingly. All right. Now it's time to leave 2D behind and take a very, very quick look at 3D canvas. As they say, it's specified using the WebGL API, which is completely separate from the 2D Canvas API, although both render onto Canvas elements. Web API is based on the Open Graphics Library, or OGL, and allows you to communicate directly with a computer's GPU. As such, writing raw WebGL is closer to low-level languages like C# than it is like JavaScript. It is complex, but is very powerful. Because of its complexity, most people write 3D graphic code using a third-party JavaScript library, such as one of the ones shown. So yes, it means involve learning another new API, but they're a lot simpler than coding raw WebGL. So it says, let's look at the simple example. We'll choose 3GS. To start with, make a local copy of the index.html. I don't even believe I've got an index.html in here. So I'm going to close this, put this in. Let's do a save as and see if we've got one of those in here or not. I'm going to keep it in Canvas. We do not, so we will just call this index.html as they have requested. Don't know what I did there. Oh, I screwed something up. Okay, they'll fix it in just a minute. So let me try it again. All right. Well, I screwed it up. So that's now index.html. I don't know how or why, but it is. So let's grab this one. And I'm going to call this index.html. I want to replace it. Yes. All right. So now it should be okay. Save a copy of the Metal 3 ping in the same folder. There it is. And there, now it's saved. Next, create a new file named main.js in the same folder as below. If you open this, you'll see two script elements. The first one attaching 3min.js, the second one attaching the main.js. You need to download the 3min.js library and save it in the right directory. Save as. .js, so that looks as though it's okay. All right, now I need a blank file here that I'm going to save. It looks, I think they said is main.js. All right, if it's wrong, yep, no, that is correct. Now we've got 3.js in our page. Let's go into main.js and start with this. Next, we need a camera so we can see the scene. Pull that over so you can read that. The perspective camera here, it says, takes 4 arguments. The first one here, this, 75, is the field of view, how wide the area in front of the camera should be visible on screen in degrees. The next is the aspect ratio, which is the math that we're doing here. Usually it's the ratio of the width divided by the height. The third one is the near plane, how close camera objects can be before we stop rendering them. Fourth is the far plane, how far away things are from the camera before they're no longer rendered. The third vital ingredient is a renderer, which is right here. So let's put this in and then we'll come back and talk about it. The first line creates the new renderer by calling that from our library that we brought in. The second line sets the size at which the renderer will draw the camera view, and the third line appends it to the canvas. Now we want to create the cube that will display on the canvas. So put this on here. Oops, I don't know why I'm doing that. All right. Just a bit more to this, so let's go through it in stages. Well, first we are creating, the cube variable, and then we're creating a text loader. Inside of here, as it says, we're going to put in the load function. We call load. Load takes 2 parameters, and although it says it can take more. The texture we want to load and the function that we want to run. When the texture has been loaded, inside this function we use the properties of the texture object right here to specify we want a 2x2 repeat of the image wrapped around all sides of the cube. Next we use box geometry and the mesh Lambert material object. Oh boy. Basically to draw out our cube, it looks like. Before we get to defining draw, we need a couple of lights to the scene to liven things up a bit. And an ambient light object is a kind of soft light that softens the whole scene a bit, like the sun when you're outside. The spotlight object, on the other hand, is a directional beam of light. All right, finally, we have to make our draw method. Let's save this, and let's draw it and see before we even check what the book has if it looks like it's correct or not. It's a different one, so it's not this and it's not this. It is the main.js, which is underneath here, but it's the index one that we want to run. Which, again, does not look very good. So let's see. It says, let's have a final look at what the finished product should look like. Well, one thing I do wonder here, if this should have been inside of some kind of a routine by itself. So let's take a look at the completed project, and we will look at the main.js. Doesn't look like it. Well, all I can think of is that I screwed something up in here, so I'm going to copy that. Come back in here. Not there. Well, it's flickering, but that's not good. Let's take a look at the completed one. I mean, I want to give you the effect at least. Could have been anything. I could have missed something in the index file. I don't know. I've got the main. I should have the 3 min. Let's go into here. This should have been correct. Still not giving it to me, so. That's the finished code. I don't want that. This is it live. Oh boy, I've got myself in there. All right, well, that gave you something to see, I guess. All right, at this point, you should have some kind of an idea of how all this stuff is used and goes together. The C also in here, these are all incredible in it. They give you even more depth and breadth of coverage than what we just gone through. So we've now gone through the really 6, because the first was the intro, another intro. So we've gone through all this. Next is video and audio APIs, and then we've got client-side storage. So let's come back with that shortly.